In this episode of Realize Training, we're going to go through all of the basic elements and how to create a nice looking image with only these items here, including the box, the line, the text item, images, and video. We're also going to talk about the content folders that are within the actual image galleries and the video galleries. And we'll create a couple slides and show you some different ways to make some fun animations to paint a picture. So today we're going to create a study abroad slide. So what we're going to do is find a nice nature scene as a background. And we're going to do that by dragging an image item onto our canvas. Immediately it's going to open up our image catalog. And here you'll see that there are already a variety of different images within here. And just like the first video of how to organize your pages, the image catalog operates the same way in terms of the folder structure. Let's say I want to create a nature scene backgrounds. So I'm going to click on the My Images. This is actually a folder that we're in right now. And I'm going to select New Folder. We'll call this one Nature Scenes. Now, if you remember from the first video, this is where we are at. Obviously, now I'm in the Nature Scenes folder. There's nothing in here. If I click back to the My Images, which is the master folder, and click Open, now I'm back and I can see all those images again. And there's an arrow where I can travel between folders. And here is my nature scenes. I can also go ahead and add different layers of folders so that when I click this arrow, many of them show up. So let's say we want one for logos. Now anytime I click this arrow, I will see logos, nature scenes, and so on. And if I would like, I can even drill down further and create new folders past logos if I want, sub-items of different logos. But for now, what we're going to do is go back to our master image folder. You'll notice again that we cannot drag our images into the other folder because we can't actually open them up while we have this selected. So we use this show extra path to drag to, and it will open up another path for us to select where we want to send our images. So let's go ahead and open up or select our nature scenes. And now any of the nature scenes that we have, we can just pull them right into that folder. So now when we actually want to travel to that folder, we'll use that top folder, click the arrow, go into the nature scenes folder, and you'll see those three slides that I just dragged. Now, when I'm actually in the folder itself, or any folder, I can use the Upload Images button to go ahead and select by using either the Control key to select multiple images, or select the first and last and hold Shift in between, and it will select all of them. Then when I click Open, you'll see all of them loading on the right side, and they will all be imported into the correct folder that I am currently sitting in right now. So let's go ahead and select this one, and we'll click Use Selected Image. Now I can drag this exactly to where I want it to be. And kind of a nice little design thing that you can do is when you actually put in an image that may not fit, you can go ahead and just have it overflow across beyond the actual canvas so that it fills the screen now. And to your viewers, they won't even know that some of it's cut off, but honestly, some of this, it'll look better when you fill the entire screen. So let's have some fun with a couple other things. We're going to put some study abroad text on the left side to essentially frame what we're talking about. I'm going to drag a box right into our canvas. We're going to make it nice and tall. Kind of make it somewhat even around all the edges. You'll notice I can change the background color. Whenever I have any item selected, I now see the properties for that item. So now I have the background selected, and now I have image properties. When I have the box selected, I can now change the transparency, which can help when you're framing text like this. I can add a border to it, change the border colors, give it a nice rounded corner all the way to a fully half-rounded circle. And then here's our animations and our layering, which are present in all of our tools, every single app within the editor. Now let's go ahead and let's add another element because we want to keep this the same color as it is. It looks pretty good. Let's drop in a text element. And I'm going to make this nice and big. We're going to call it Study Abroad. Now, one thing about the text item is that you can't actually move it while it is currently in the text editing mode. So two things that you can do to move it again. One, which I always do, is simply just click off of the text item. And once it is not selected, you can just go ahead and grab it. And then when you want to edit it again, you can either click the Edit Text button on the left when it's selected, or what I do is just double click right into it, and now you have your blinking cursor again. Every text item will follow the same overall size, so if you want to have different sizes of text, you will need to create multiple text items to fit that. But the nice thing is once I'm in the editing mode, I can literally highlight the text and change specific pieces of it to show different text fonts. For this, let's just find a nice Arial. And again, you have line spacing, so if you have multiple lines of content, you can separate them or bring them closer together. And you can also add a little bit of shadow if that looks nicely within your slide as well. For this, we're not going to. I think we're just going to leave it as Study Abroad. We might change the color here in just a little bit. But one thing you'll notice on all the elements as well is there's this little dot at the top. What this does is it actually will rotate. Once you grab it, you can now rotate the element to a different angle. And this can be useful to bring attention to certain items. What I'm going to do is I can actually see the angle down here in the bottom, which is this little protractor looking icon. As I move it, you'll notice that that it counts up obviously all the way from 0 to 360 degrees. When I'm at 270 degrees, we are completely vertical, which is exactly where we want to be. So let's put our text right there. We'll make it just a little bit bigger. And let's keep it like that for now. And then let's throw in another text element. We're going to make this one nice and big. And what we're going to do is double click right on our text, and then we're going to change the color of it to white so that it might stand out a little bit more. And we can go ahead and maybe add some shadow on this as well. White tends to look all right with the shadow because the shadow will help set it against the darker background. Now what we're going to do is you'll notice I could, if I would like, bold it. I'm going to save that in just a little bit, and then I have my typical underline and italics here. One thing, if you are familiar with hotkeys, that you can do is when you do not have your item selected or your text edited, where you can move it around, use your Control and C to copy this element, and then use Control V to paste the element. Now this will work for anything, especially with boxes. I can copy them. Use your delete key to remove them. Even copy the whole background. This will save you a lot of time. And so what I'm going to do then is we're going to put our last text item why don't we just capitalize the whole thing? And we'll make it nice and big. So there we go. So now we have a nice looking slide. Now what we can do to paint the picture just a little bit is we can even go ahead and instead of underlining maybe the no, which we can always do, you can always use your line item if you wanted to frame information as well. Obviously the line item, it works just like a box except it's a line. You can adjust the thickness, make it horizontal or vertical, change it to dashed or solid lines. Let's use dash maybe. Maybe make it a little bit smaller. And you may or may not like that, but hey, we're just brainstorming right here. So what we're going to do then is now we're going to use animations to essentially paint the picture. What I'd like someone to see when this slide comes up is the study abroad and the it's not worth it come up soon and have a slight delay before we see the said no one ever, kind of acting almost like a punchline to the slide. It'll help draw attention and increase your recall a little bit when you paint it like this. So let's just keep the study abroad always there. And then let's move in. When I click on my it's not worth it, I'm going to have it curl in. And we're going to have that happen a half of a second into it. We're also going to have our dashed line curl in. Or actually, let's have it fade in. Some elements and animations are not capable for certain elements, so you'll notice the curl in is not part of the dotted line. So we're just going to have it fade in at the same time, a half a second after the slide starts. Then we're going to give it a little bit of time before the said no one ever comes. So I will click on the said no one ever and have that animation maybe fly in from the top. And we're going to give it a few seconds, maybe 2.5 seconds. So now once I have my slide set, I can touch on the play full animation sequence. It's the little play button down here. I'll see the it's not worth it, followed by the boom, it's said no one ever. So it's kind of like a nice little punchline here. Now, other things that we can do to bring this slide out. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other things. We've used the box, the line, the text. Now let's go ahead and instead of showing an image, if I grab the background image, I can just press delete and OK. Let's go ahead and drop a video in the back. So you'll notice now we have a video catalog and it is completely blank, but it looks exactly like the image catalog and the folders operate the same way. We're going to find a video to upload. Let's find this Yellowstone Grand Prismatic. I'm going to click open and then you'll notice that it will start uploading here. I'll check back in just a second when it's done. Okay, so the video is now ready for use. You'll notice it shows up here in our video catalog. Just like an image, we'll click on it and click Use Selected Video. And now we have the Yellowstone's image in the background, or the thumbnail. And you'll notice it came in as the width of 1920 by 1080. These are the size of the width and height in pixels of the canvas. This means that your entire canvas is 1920 pixels wide by 1080 pixels tall. So anytime you have an image or anything sized to that proportion, it will fit perfectly within the canvas. The X and Y at the bottom are your positioning, so you'll notice as I move it left and right, the X and Y will also move up and down for vertical movement. And so what I want to do is position this exactly at 0, 0, and that will put it right into the top corner. So the X and Y is measured from this corner. So if I move this just a little bit, you'll notice down here that we're only about 7 pixels off the left and about 9 pixels off the top. I'll put it back here. So now we would like it to be right perfect. And you'll notice that the video is actually covering up all of my other elements. here's where our layering comes into play. Over here is our moving front to back layering. Now what I can do is I can press any of these buttons. If I'm following the blue little square, pressing this will move it back a layer. So you'll notice as I touch it again, it will move back one layer, move back one layer, and move back another layer until it's all the way in the back. Or looking at the blue, I can send it all the way to the front by clicking this one, and now it's completely in front of everything. Or send it all the way to the back, which would be a quick way just to put it as a background element by clicking this button. Now again, you'll notice there are some different things you can do with the video. I can have it start playing at a certain time. I can change the video. Or I can have it continue playing once this slide, if it's a really long video. Instead of having it always start from the beginning, have it play where it left off the last time it showed on the screen. Volume is always at 0 by default, but if you are going to use volume, remember to turn that up and also make sure that your TVs have the volume on as well. For this, we don't need any page animation at all. We also have a play button where we can see what it will look like when it's actually played. Sometimes videos, even in further ones, we're going to show you how to add YouTube videos as backgrounds as well. They make a great way to show an animated slide and give you some excellent movement to attract attention. Okay, so now we can save and back. And you'll notice our awesome Study Abroad slide is now inside of our main page library. That concludes using all of the basic elements in this video. We'll go through a little bit more and create a menu board in the next video to show you how to use grids.